What's good, everybody? Dark Inception back in for another video. Um, so all of you guys seem to like my Amazing Spider-Man review, which I appreciate. Thank you guys for watching it. And now I'm gonna start to tackle the Nolan trilogy one by one. So first on the list, this is Batman Begins. So I hope you enjoy it. Now, this movie has done multiple things right that I liked, and I could easily say that this is my favorite movie in the whole Nolan trilogy. It is a Batman origin film. I know people are kind of tired of seeing Batman origin films, but I kind of think, there are people out there who think that, superhero films don't need origins, and that's fine, that's their opinion. And I could understand if, people think that superhero films are kind of, the origin stories are kind of getting redundant. But I kind of feel like they're necessary. And I think this film was on the right track of doing it how I'd want to see a Batman origin story. Now, you get to see Bruce Wayne go through training with Ra's al Ghul. Now, it's apparent that Bruce knows how to fight already. He proves that in one of the opening scenes whenever he's undercover in a third world country and you see him fighting petty crooks. And he's fighting like a group of them. But, Ra's basically helps him train under the art of stealth and master his fear. And they use what later becomes Scarecrow's fear toxin in order to help train him. There's many flashbacks where, it shows young Bruce Wayne who is terrified of bats. I think the flashback sequences really work because I think they really help bulk up the relationships Bruce has in current day, like his relationship with Rachel. We got to see them as children. Whereas, it also helps, establish his parents as characters. We get to see his parents. This movie was good at establishing that Bruce's parents, specifically his father, because we didn't really get to see his mother all that much, did love him. And although Bruce's father was very busy, as you can tell, he was always there when Bruce needed him. So, it really makes it that much more tragic whenever his parents finally pass away before Bruce's eyes. Once Bruce's parents pass away, you really begin to see Alfred step up into the role of the father figure, and I find it extremely touching, especially in this first film, and in the flashbacks when you see Bruce, younger, and, Alfred's just kind of there helping Bruce get past that pain of his parents being gone. We also get to see the first appearance of Jim Gordon, who gives Bruce his, jacket in the police station in order to help comfort him. I really like this scene because it shows that Gordon was always there for Bruce. I mean, he wasn't always aware because Gordon didn't always know that, Bruce was Batman. But, Gordon was there for Bruce, when Bruce was a child, to give him the jacket and to comfort him. And then later on when Bruce is an adult as Batman, Gordon was probably one of the only people that ever supported Batman. So it's just kind of neat to see that, on both ends of the spectrum, Gordon was always there for Bruce, and I really like that. I also, this movie had a good set of flashback sequences with, it was before Bruce sent himself off to, the third world countries and whatever, and it was when Bruce was with Rachel, and, she took him down to one of the lower levels of Gotham, which, again, I also like how Gotham has levels, and, she took him to a really dark, disgusting place of Gotham where, you know, Falcone and his men, you know, basically own the place. And I really like that because it's what I want to see. It's like this really sleazy Gotham that looks almost hopeless. I mean, when Bruce is, you know, talking to Falcone at one point, Falcone's kind of like, I own the place around here, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's a dirty cop right there. You know, he listens to me. You know, I could, you know, no gun, I'm insulted. I own the muscle around here, kid, you know. And I just really like it. Now, when it comes to Bruce becoming Batman, now again, as I said in the beginning of this review, he had training with Ra's al Ghul, and I don't really, you know, again, I don't hate the training. I like the training. It's just, I personally would have wanted to see a montage of training, like Bruce kind of training his mind, and then, you know, training his body, and then, you know, eventually training with Ra's, you know, because when he's just training with Ra's al Ghul alone, it kind of makes him, I don't know, seem like a glorified ninja to me. That's just kind of my opinion. I mean, you know, I guess it's better than nothing, but I would have preferred to see, you know, a giant montage of different types of training, because Bruce in the comics is a master of different martial arts and escape artistry and, you know, etc., etc. Now, I really like how Lucius Fox is in the movie. He's played by Morgan Freeman. I like how Lucius is kind of like smart yet sarcastic, and he's even like onto Bruce's bullshit when Bruce is trying to become Batman. You know, he's asking for all this equipment, and, you know, Morgan's kind of like, you know, you could let me in on what's going on here. Like, you're not fooling me. But yeah. So when it comes to actually becoming Batman, I love what they did with it. I love how when he's ordering all the separate parts. You know, for example, when he was making like the cowl, he had to order like 10,000 different cowls just to throw off suspicion. And like, it wasn't just like this thing he made overnight. Like, he got different parts, he tested them out, and, you know, eventually, you know, he got the suit. And, you know, I like the whole memory cloth cape thing. I think the Batman Begins suit is definitely my favorite out of the different suits in the trilogy. Now, that's not to say I don't like the second one. I just like the first one more because, you know, it's thicker. You know, to me it looks a little more menacing, and I know it cuts down his mobility a little bit, but I really like, you know, I just like the look in general. Now, when it comes to Batman's debut in the film, I like how he's taking down Falcone's crew. A lot of people complain about that scene because they're like, well, the camera's panning around so quickly, you know, you can barely see Batman. That's kind of the point. Like, you know, you're kind of supposed to experience this how the thugs are experiencing this. Like, someone just jumped them, and, you know, you can't see who's taking these people down one by one because he's moving so freaking fast. And then I love that scene where, you know, Falcone's sitting in his car, you know, listening to all this happen. He's like, what the hell are you? And then Bruce smashes through the glass on top, through the sunroof, and he's like, I'm Batman. Then he headbutts Falcone and knocks him out. And I know some people don't like how he says nice coat to the hobo right after declaring that he's Batman. Now, I'll admit, at first I was amongst the people that kind of thought that was out of place, but then I thought about it. You know, when Bruce first encountered that hobo, it was right after he got, you know, told that he can't do anything towards Falcone. It was right after he met Falcone for the first time face to face. Now, it kind of brings everything back full circle because, you know, he just took down Falcone as Batman after doing all this training and, you know, finally becoming something. And now he's meeting the hobo. So it's kind of like, you know, that dignifies or, you know, marks that he finally made it back around full circle. And I kind of like that. But, you know, some people don't, and that's up to them. So yeah, I kind of want to go into the other characters, but I can only make you know, my videos a certain length, so I don't want to really risk it becoming over a certain length. So I guess I'll cut it off here, guys. Be sure to check out part 2 when I go further into my Batman Begins review. Catch you later, guys.